Welcome to the unit analysis for the new Halloween banner of October 2018. Welcome everybody. Today is a special day. As you guys know, two of my favorite characters have gone seasonal alts today. This is very special to me. They didn't get released today, but we have their stats and, you know, they got released in a trailer yesterday, but that's really cool to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the new units today. I'm going to show you some builds, but unfortunately today I am not going to do unit comparisons with older units because these units are unique. They are unique, and it's pretty difficult to compare them to what is already in the current pool because seasonals always seem to come with new unit types, new movement types, something that's just completely new to the game. So it's very difficult to make comparisons because they're just not comparable. There have been exceptions in the past. Some Cordelia, I'm looking at you, compared to Oscar, of course. Just keep in mind, I'm going to keep things as objective as possible, as I always have been. You know, if you're coming in here looking for some good information, how to build the units, or just straight out, should you pull, then you've come to the right place, okay? So, anyways, Twitch folks, you guys are in the chat below. Feel free to say hello to those on YouTube, and YouTube guys, of course, you can say hello to everybody on Twitch, you know, show some love. Let's get into this. Up on the units I want to show is Myrrh. Okay, I'm going to show some budget builds first of all, and I'm going to show maybe some more optimized builds or creative builds. These are not things you have to follow. You can always, and I encourage you to do something different and unique, but I'm going to show you what I think works, and just from my experience of playing the game tons, you know. So here we go. First up, Myrrh. She has a stat spread that's actually not too oppressive by considering what we already have in the game with so many units having such high stat lines. Myrrh is the first of Gen 2 BST units that's a healer, basically. We've had cavalry healers way before, that was back in the first generation of BST units, so she's kind of coming in with a new stat spread, but it's not that crazy good. It's actually like 30-34 and 22-28 as res, so that's not really that great. She's not really coming with something fantastic, but you got to consider she is colorless, so colorless means there is no real weakness to her and there's no real strength either. The strength is literally that there is no weakness, so that's really good because you can just hit things with consistent damage. Anyways, the build that I've showcased here, if you do happen to snag a plus attack minus HPIV, that's ideal. You can always kind of consider dropping defense or res as well because it doesn't really matter too much as long as you're not hitting the speed or the attack stat. The reason I prefer an attack boon, especially on a healer, is because not only does it help with their damage, which is colorless damage, but it also helps with their healing. You got to consider that healing is increased by increasing a healer's attack stat. So the budget build I have here is pretty much most of what she already comes with. The Witchy Wand, a Recover, Heavenly Light, Speed Res Bond, but I've chosen to give her Escape Route in the B and a Flyer Formation Seal. Now the reason this works so well is because of Flyer Mobility, and that's what makes her stand out. So she's going to be a supportive unit, and I think this build will truly shine in the PvE modes of the game. The Abyssal modes that just got released in GHBs, or the Legendary Hero Battles for GHB Legendary Hero Battles as well. You reset the cooldown of those units that start with those specials charged, and just in general slow cooldowns, and that's how they build a lot of these maps design. So Myrrh's gonna be really powerful out of the box. Even her IVs don't really matter too much. It's just kind of like a more optimal choice. So really cool. Anyways, let's go into more of the different things you can do with Myrrh. So if you plan to use her more as an arena assault check or maybe squad assault, some of the best things you can do with healers, and especially with flyer mobility, is to just use a gravity staff. Okay, Witchy Wand is not going to be better than straight up gravity staff, and the reason this works so well is because you pretty much hit the target and then reposition. You cannot be hit. You know, with Dazzling Effect, there is no counterplay to that, and reposition gets you out. And gravity does have a little bit of a like cross formation when you hit the unit, so yeah, it's pretty good. Again, the budget, the actual build itself is fairly budget, meant to support your unit, Wings of Mercy to help out other units, and all you do here is just gravity, reposition. It's pretty much a free win. IVs, again, don't really matter. It's just the flying mobility part is what makes this really good as an arena assault check. So that's pretty simple, nothing really to it. You can do this with any 3 or 4 star healer in the current pool. It doesn't have to be Myrrh, but the fact that she's flyer gives her that advantage. Moving on, this is more of a like optimized set for Myrrh. So what you have here is the classic Pain, Vantage, Savage Blow, Close Counter set. Now again, Her stat spread isn't the greatest, but it's not bad either. And when you build a set like this, the most important thing is actually both your speed and attack being fairly good. Now, her speed is already really good, and her attack is a little bit lacking, but it's still respectable. So all that considered, you pretty much can just hit things and then you take a little bit of damage. That's why you use Wrathful. You can hope that they counterattack. If they don't, then you'll likely still be able to take a hit because her bulk here is 63 defense and 69 resistance. So she'll very easily get into Vantage Rage, and not many things will one-shot her, minus Bold Fighters or something ridiculous like that, Brave Weapons. Those are usually going to kill her, but generally speaking, this is really good because you just hit things, splash damage, and it's going to do a lot of work. So classic Pain, Vantage, Close Counter, Savage Blow, really good on her. The beauty of this build, though, is, again, as I mentioned previously, flyer mobility. You can fly on a mountain and really cut down on the enemies that can approach you, or maybe trees. You know, those kind of options is what separates her as compared to other healers. So, you know, Mia's the most flexible unit on this banner for sure. She can go on a lot of team comps, and there's going to be so many more thousands of builds you can do here. You know, aerobatics, you know, there's tons of staffs you can use, fear, panic. You know, you show me. Just show me if you want to. I really want to see some creativity here. She can probably carry your teams too. Moving on. Let's talk about Kagero. So, yeah, it's an armor unit. It's a ranged armor unit. It's low speed, and it's going to be really good. Just like, pretty much when I saw green Kagero with this low speed, I pretty much thought of Winter Tharja, but on the green slot, you know? So, the thing with Winter Tharja, though, compared to Kagero, is Winter Tharja hits res, and Kagero hits physical damage. But green Kagero here can use a CDR weapon, a weapon that reduces her cooldown on her special. Now, when I use Kagero, I combine her with Hector for Ostia's Pulse to get her Ignis, you know, really like ready on the first Bold Fighter or Quick Riposte situation. And that you can do the same thing here without relying on a different teammate. So use Barb Shuriken, Ignis, Bold Fighter, Quick Riposte with a close counter. It's pretty much like a Winter Tharja set, but green. And that's going to be really good without having to rely on partners. Now, some of you might look at this and be like, why don't I drop speed? You can drop speed. It's a choice, whatever you get. If you get plus attack, minus speed, it's fine. If you get plus attack, minus HP, it's also fine. The reason I don't, you know, think that minus HP is still pretty good is because if you can factor in like buffs, like speed tactics or hone armors, drive speeds, rally speeds and such, all those situations combined can actually put her at a decent like 30 speed. And if you want to use something different like a Worry Fighter build, that's also consideration to make. You know, an armored dagger with Worry Fighter is pretty good as a supportive unit, so that you can stop your own doubles from happening and your enemies hitting you as well. So the thing is, if you fight against units that auto double with like Bold Fighter or Dagger Breaker, should you ever run into that, at least you have that choice. So if you drop the speed, it becomes more difficult to run that build. So yeah, in those situations, I think it's more build flexibility with minus HP over minus speed. Moving on though, and this is one of the reasons I chose minus HP Tharja myself over minus speed, because I like that flexibility of not having to drop the speed. Okay, so something a little bit different. Kagero has one of the highest attack stats again, because she has this amongst all her forms. This is cool though, because you can't really get cooldown reduction like you could on an infantry unit, but you can get cooldown reduction using Bold Fighter. So if you use Life and Death with an AoE special and Bold Fighter, plus you just stack as much attack as you can with Silver Dagger Attack 3 and such, and even Attack Wave, you're looking at a 64 attack, you know, plus attack IV, maximum attack through Silver Dagger, and then Blazing Wind is ready every second fight. Which, if you were to combine that with even Attack Wave, you actually self-buff for 70 attack every turn that you have your AoE special ready. You literally can line up your AoE specials every single second turn with Kagero. So this is ridiculous. Not to mention, Life and Death, and she still has 27 defense and 28 res, which is ridiculous. I mean, like, what? factor in some speed buffs and you're probably avoiding some doubles as well, which again, like I said, I'd prefer not dropping that speed because here you're at 26 speed with life and death, and if you drop speed you'd be down to like 23. So, you know, as I said, build flexibility. HP is not so bad to drop because you already have such high defense and res anyways. Avoiding the double is more important than getting doubled, and with some buffs she can definitely pull that off. Ridiculous kind of, you know, this is just monstrous. Like, you could clear things easily with like a dancer, or every second turn with blazing wind hitting for some ridiculous amounts. Factor in merges, and yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. So again, another Kagero build. This one's more specialized, and you know, if you happen to have, or wait until these units show up on a legendary banner again, the dancers of course, with their daggers, the special ones, if those armor units are giving you some trouble, this comes off Ryoma, the Sky Mayogi. If you feel like the armor meta is giving you some trouble, well, all you need is Ryoma's dagger. So yeah, you're looking at a 57 attack, death blow 3 of course to give you some 63 attack, even attack wave up to 69, and you're pretty much one-shotting like all the armors, or not one-rounding all the armors in the game. Of course, you'll have some trouble against some of the more tanky red armors, which would be like Zelgius and the new Myrrh. But even so, the effective damage should pull through in most of those cases. Of course, if you really do have a Celica running around for DB4, this build can be improved even further on top of that. Yeah, and she will be able to take retaliation hits from things like Myrrh or Zelgius as well, and likely kill them on the follow-up with that Bold Fighter. So, ridiculous. Actually ridiculous. The Kagero's stat spread did impress me a lot because it just reminds me of a winner in Tharja, but she has so much better tome options than Tharja had. Like, Tharja pretty much had Owl Tome, Candelabra, Raven, Roar Raven, you know, like there's not that much. The cool is all these dagger options you have, right? So Kagero, definitely thumbs up from me. If you do get her, you know, she does have some good fodder as well. Alright, so my boy here, Niles, yeah, he's a fast guy. He's a fast guy. So again, the thing that makes him special though is that he has so much speed, like ridiculous amounts of speed. He's so fast. And he's got a Brave Bow equipped in this build here, and he's 37 speed. So he's losing speed here, and he has 37 speed. It's crazy, right? He's got that speed 3 seal, which is helping him up here to get to 42. If you guys don't know, he pretty much has 39 base speed. So with him, you don't really need to pump up his speed further. You just need to pump up his attack a little bit more, or as I'll show you later, you can actually pump up his defenses even further and just make him ridiculous, okay? So the thing that really makes him shine though is Special Fighter. Special Fighter is best suited on units that are incredibly fast, fast armor units. So some to name are of course Halloween Henry, green, LA Lin, blue, and now we have Niles, also blue. Difference is LA Lin is hitting res and Niles hits physical. In my opinion, I think LA Lin is a little bit better because hitting res, and of course she can use Blade Tome, which is pretty ridiculous. But we have that doubles, the doubles from Niles, and that means you can use things like Moonbow here. So you use Moonbow and you can have yourself 2 Moonbows per fight as long as you got that double, which isn't that hard to do. In this case, the quad, right? Because his speed is so ridiculous. You factor in Swift Sparrow, he has 41 speed, add in a couple merges, 45 speed. Yeah, it's not that difficult to set him up. This is not even including buffs on your team. Of course, you have like rally speeds or hone armor, ridiculous things like that. He's gonna melt things, and you deny the enemy special. So if you're afraid of something like Zelgius Black Lunaing you in the face, you actually wouldn't even get hit by it because you'd likely kill him within the Brave Bow initiation or the quad that follows up. So, you know, crazy strong there. Okay, so this is a little bit different here. I wanted to take advantage of Niles's pretty decent mixed defensive stat spread and something that's, you know, gonna make him good on both phases. And that's Clarisse's bow, actually. So if you hit somebody with a Clarisse's bow, refined of course, you use close counter and close defense with Special Fighter, it means that you can hit into things, not charge their special, charge your own, likely Moonbow, and on enemy phase, you get a guaranteed Moonbow on retaliation, which is insane. The actual difference here in defensive stats, as soon as you hit somebody with Clary's bow, is lowering their attack and speed by 5, your Moonbow is charged, and they hit you, Moonbow gets charged again, you hit back, do insane damage, close defense, 35 defense, basically, and also reducing their attack by 40. It's like essentially 11 attack and defense difference there. It makes them really tanky, and that's both on defense or res. The reason I gave him the defense boon rather than like a res boon is because if you fight dragons in this case, they don't have a weakness on Niles. There's no defensive or res weakness here, so he can take care of those pretty easily. Again, Moonbow is the ideal thing. If you're going to use it with Special Fighter, it's pretty much good on both phases. And then what I plan to do in the long term, not now, I don't plan to plus 10 Niles, but here we go, plus 10 Niles. So, of course, when I do get this, when Legendary Banner return, saving orbs and such, I'll give him Summoner support, I'll give him Corrin, and he's pretty much invincible. Literally invincible. Okay, so he has 6 stats here, because I'm considering ally support from Niles, from Corrin. Yeah. He's running guard, he has enough speed to double everything, he's got a super boon on defense, he actually has an attack stat, he's got 51 speed. Yeah, it hurts, you know, it hurts. You don't really have to use Luna here. You could probably use Ignis, for instance, and it would do pretty well. I just chose Luna because the difference is, it's like Ignis is probably a little bit better, but you know, some situations like Abyssal, the defensive stats on some of those units get really high, so Luna might be more value. Pretty much shifted there, give or take. Yeah, and of course the Earth Blessing, which could give him additional defense if you had Legendary Tiki on the team, or if you had maybe Legendary Ike for some attack, or Grima for some speed, whatever you kind of wanted to go for. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It actually is ridiculous how high defensive stats he can get. It's kind of surprising to me that he has more defense than res, but, you know, 50 defense in enemy phase, 47 res, 51 speed. This is like the penultimate form of Niles, so I cannot wait to try something like this and slaughter everything. But I'm going to have to wait. I would have to wait probably, you know, months from now, at least half a year. I'll put it into action. By then, you can look forward to something like that. Moving on, finally we got the spooky monster. The thing with Myrrh, the new Myrrh, is there's not that much creativity I feel that can be done with her. It just feels like you have pretty much the same Myrrh as a flying Myrrh, except she's armored now. It's a little bit less mobility. Her stats are actually insane. I've chosen to use Fortress Defense as a seal because that's what's important when engaging, and her attack is already really good anyways. So yeah, it's pretty insane. This particular Ivy I've chosen is not based on arena scoring. That would be plus attack, of course, or plus speed. This is just more of a, you know, Abyssal has 50 defense. Nah, I'm just not gonna die to anything, you know? Like, you just basically want to win the defense check here, and that's why something like Fortress Defense is used. Close defense is only on enemy phase, remember? So this is as much as you can stack on both phases. Not much to say, really. I mean, she's gonna work. She's gonna slaughter things. You know, it's Myrrh, right? Anyways, I did think of slightly something different, and that would be using the super boon here on speed. But this time we use Fury. So you get 3 to all stats. You get that defense extra. You get the speed boon, and I've actually utilized the new Brazen Attack Res seal, which actually would work pretty well here because of Fury. So you'll drop into the Brazen Attack res range, and then you have in 64 attack and 42 res with 46 defense. So it's pretty good as that. The only issue with this build, of course, is Vengeful Fighter, which is 50%. 50% is like the threshold there, so she's gonna need some healing, or the match has to be done. The match has to be done before she falls out of that range, because this is like, you know, really good. Of course, consider that she doesn't have any sort of like merges here, so the stats on this does get even more ridiculous. You still have to consider that she's red though, and she's gonna have weaknesses. That's gonna be any of the falchions will still likely kill her. They will outspeed her. Especially in enemy phase, and that's gonna hurt a lot. There's, of course, things like the new Niles, which can do a lot of damage, especially using Moonbow or Luna. especially with brave bows. And then of course you have your Obros and S, and then 3 and 4 star pool with armor slaying weapons. And then of course daggers like the Cloud Mayugi or the Sky Mayugi. There's just so many counters to Myrrh, so I don't feel like she is that great. She's not as flexible because of all those weaknesses. She's gonna need a little bit of babysitting to make that work. And 2 more guys I want to look at for today. Okay, finally the hottest man in the world. Okay, the beauty with Dorcas is he's pretty good out of the box. You don't really need to change anything to make him work. He's pretty much a super wall out of the box. This is basically his base kit, and it works pretty well. The problem with this is you do get a little bit of a stalemate by using Warrior Fighter. Like, you'll have a couple of rounds there. He's not going to necessarily one-shot things. So if you have obviously the resources to spend, using like Quick Riposte and Renewal are also good options. You can pretty much give him Renewal in the B slot and Quick Riposte Seal. And because of his Hack-a-Lantern weapon, it means that you're denying special on the enemies, so he actually wouldn't be dying to things like most units would, consider like Black Luna. Even this one isn't likely. It's just a big like wall essentially. So out of the box, I really like Dorcas. He's really good for a unit to have. Green Axe armor is kind of cool because we've had a red free armor before, which is Black Knight and Arden, of course. And we had Elwood, L.A. Elwood, who is blue. So it's nice to have Dorcas show up here. Unfortunate that he's not 175, but I definitely will be using him once the new arena season comes in. And finally, just for those of you that do plan to use them in Arena, I've constructed a little bit of a Arena build for you guys to use, and this is the one that I personally will be using in the week to come. So yeah, he has 25 speeded base, but you gotta remember, if you summoner support him, you use ally support, and of course you use the arena bonus stats, he actually reaches 34 speed, 36 with ally support. You have drive speed, you're pretty much at 39 speed, and a rally would be at 42 speed. So a 25 speed unit can reach up to 40 speed easily. So you don't have to use something like Quick Riposte. You pretty much just refine his Hack-a-Lantern here for speed, give him Renewal. Panic Ploy, he's literally like the best unit in the game to use it once you consider all these stats, and you're gonna have yourself a very easy arena week, like ridiculously easy. 70 HP hits everything. His attack stat is ridiculous, 67 on enemy phase. We're not even considering ally support or any other buffs you might have on the team. His speed is good on both phases here with all these buffs. And of course the defense makes him an indestructible wall. Another option here, if you do have a lot of speed on your team, speed support, whether that's a rally speed defense plus, or maybe you have a lot of drive speeds on the team from tail 2, you pretty much can use the Res Refine instead, just to patch up his one weakness there, especially if you're afraid of something like the new Myrrh. The thing is, he does have enough defense to not let the enemy Myrrh double him, so I think that he's going to be fine, and especially since his Hack-a-Lantern denies that double, he's going to be just fine. So this is a great arena bonus unit to have for the weeks coming up, and this is definitely what I plan to use myself. You can also use Gale Force instead of Ether if you like mobility over setting up those kills. He's hot. Definitely pretty hot. Alright, so let's look at the mathematics and summarize what we have. So remember, guys, this is a 4-person focus banner. That means that it is actually quite difficult to snipe for any of these units. We don't have any shared colors. In my opinion, that's kind of a detriment if you're specifically sniping one thing, because you're not going to get a lot of value from your orbs. You're not going to get, like, for example, you're not going to get Silas while pulling for Ophelia, and if you were pulling for Ophelia, you wouldn't get Silas. Or backwards, vice versa. You wouldn't be getting those, and that's kind of a problem, because it means if you're strictly sniping one unit, you won't get your value there. So if you're looking for that value, I do just recommend waiting for a legendary banner like I am maybe half a year from now. That's where you'll get your value from units that share. For example, like legendary Tiki might share with Niles, we don't know, or Fjorm, both are quite good options, or legendary Lucina. And Colorless, there's a new one coming in November, but F Grima is still a really good unit, if not one of the best, so that's a good chance for me to pick up merges on Mia. If you're looking for Myrrh, she might share with legendary Ike, or maybe Ryoma. And of course, I forgot Legendary Ephraim, but I guess he worked too in the blue. So there's things to wait for. Hector could be green, of course, if you want Kagero. That's where you get a little bit more value for your orbs there and pick up other 5 stars. If you are looking to just snipe and literally sole focus on one unit, then yes, this is kind of the banner to go for. And you won't probably see it until next year, which is kind of sad if you kind of want to work on merges now. Getting just 1 copy though, especially for those of you that are low spenders or free to play, it's very important that you do have either saved orbs or you plan to save orbs throughout this banner's lifespan. I don't expect a lot of people to have orbs right now, especially after all the banners we've gone through. There have been some really high quality stuff, especially Legendary Banner, where it definitely depleted my count, and it was a really good one, so I'm not really too upset. I definitely will summon for Mia and Niles here, and I'll try to get as many merges, but I still have to get G Duel, I still have to get Red Flyer Duel. So that's going to be priority for me. And then through this banner's lifespan, you'll likely see me get some. As kind of a summary though, red is the most expensive to snipe for. So if you're a Myrrh hunter, it's kind of sad. The pool is very saturated. On average count there is 178 orbs to get 1 copy of Myrrh. 179, sorry, and 400 if you're in the 90 percentile. This means that 1 in 10 people spend 400 orbs for Myrrh. You know, that's a really sad thing. On the other hand, green is the most efficient, so if you're looking for bold fighter fodder here, it's, you know, or just even attack wave, Kagero will be the easiest to pull for, with 1 in 10 people having 315 orbs spent there. The pools are very saturated, guys, especially on 4-person focus banners, so, you know, if you really do want your values, I'd recommend just waiting it out until Legendary Banner returns. However, these units are very unique, very strong, and as I just showed you throughout this video, that you can definitely put some good use to them and maybe find a role for your team. I highly recommend this banner to maybe newer players who are just looking for some really powerful units to pick up. But if you've been playing for a while, you likely already have most of your team comps already set up, and you probably don't need most of these units. In fact, if you consider somebody like Mia, a Dancing Flyer as a support unit is already good enough. Like Bridal Ninian or Air Zero, if you already have those, you likely don't need Mia. And with Niles, for instance, Jacob, who's going to get a rerun, Halloween Jacob, is more flexible than Niles is when it comes to, well, not flexible, but more consistent when it comes to doing damage and killing units. He's colorless, so there's no weakness there, and there's no strength either. You pretty much gear him up with Brave Bow, Death Blow, Moon Bow, Bold Fighter, and there you have consistent damage throughout the whole cast, where Niles struggles against like green units. You know, that's not something that's too good for him. Finally, and just so we know, Kagero is definitely really good here, but do consider, of course, that if you don't have the fodder for it, you don't have the feathers, then Winter Tharja will reappear in winter, and she has a very similar stat spread there to pretty much do the same thing, and she hits res, which is kind of the better stat to be hitting. So consider your team comps very carefully. You might already have what you need. You probably already have what you have if you've been playing for a long time, and these units aren't really going to be filling out your roster for more than that. Definitely Mia does get my thumbs up as the most important unit to have here though, especially if abyssal modes give you problems. If you're looking to solve it yourself, that's all it is. As a final note, the banner is a month long, so as always, I don't recommend pulling day 1. You have a long time to wait. Let's see what we have in the Legendary Banner coming up and what else could be coming through this month. So patience does pay off, and you can make a good educated guess towards all those banners combined. Don't forget Dorcas is an arena bonus unit and a Tempest Trials bonus unit, so you don't really need to pull for any of the other ones if you're looking for somebody to complete your bonus unit systems. Okay guys, so feel free to tell me in the comments below what kind of cool build ideas you have, what you think of the units themselves if you missed out on yesterday's video, who you plan to work on maybe in the long term or pull on later in the banner. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in a few days. My wife will be pulling for Niles. I'm going to give her as much love as I can there. Hopefully she picks them up and the gacha isn't too cruel to us. Okay guys? Peace.